Little St. James spans 71 acres of rock and soil, completely surrounded by the Caribbean Sea. There is no bridge to the mainland. The only ways onto the property are by private boat or helicopter. That physical geography creates an absolute barrier. No neighbors looking over the fence, no local journalists dropping by, no police forces within immediate reach. For the elite guests who stepped off the helipad, it was a pristine tropical sanctuary. For the victims brought there, that exact same isolation made escape impossible. This perfectly sealed environment operated for nearly 20 years. During that time, some of the wealthiest and most influential people on Earth visited the property, witnessing the daily operations of the island without reporting a single detail. Jeffrey Epstein bought the island for $8 million in 1998. Within a decade, he leveled and rebuilt the terrain, constructing a main residence, multiple guest villas, a private dock, and a dedicated helipad. The operation of these buildings was governed by a severe internal bureaucracy. A property management document recovered in the DOJ files outlines mandatory formal attire for all staff serving guests. The schedule demanded absolute precision. When a flight arrived, an employee had to wait at a freshly vacuumed helipad with a coconut drink in hand and a running ATV positioned for immediate transport. At the highest elevation of the island sat a spoilerskircher painted in bright blue and white horizontal stripes. For years, outside observers and investigators debated the purpose of this highly visible, fortress-like room. In 2026, the New York Times published accounts of Epstein referring to the structure as his private mosque. He imported authentic tiles from Uzbekistan and installed enormous tapestries and Islamic gardens, a bizarre architectural choice for a man with no known religious affiliation, built entirely out of public view. Down in the guest villas, the design choices were far more explicit. Federal investigators interviewed a former island designer who was instructed to create a bedroom using a colorful palette. When the designer arrived and found multiple bunk beds, he asked if Epstein had grandchildren. Epstein told him the beds were for the girls. The designer immediately abandoned the project. The specific layout and interior modifications suggest an engineered facility designed for the long-term housing and processing of people. Every arrival and departure on the island was recorded. Those visitor logs were finally made public during the 2026 Department of Justice document release. The flight manifests detail at least one visit by a British royal, with former staff testifying to multiple stays. This aligns with sworn statements from a victim who testified she was 18 when trafficked to him there, alongside roughly 8 other minors who did not speak English. The logs also record a full week's stay by a senior British politician in 2004. The co-founder of Google arrived with his fiancée in 2007. A former Israeli prime minister made a series of visits between 2014 and 2015. The United States Commerce Secretary previously assured Congress he had severed all contact with Epstein in 2005 due to his conduct. Yet, under oath, he later admitted to having lunch on Little St. James in 2012, bringing his wife, their children, and their nannies. During a February 2026 deposition, the founder of a major global technology company was finally forced to admit he had also spent time on the island, directly contradicting his previous public denials. Despite being surrounded by the extreme youth of the staff and the highly controlled environment, every single one of these individuals has maintained an identical legal defense. They saw nothing unusual, and they participated in nothing illegal. The presence of these individuals on the property is a matter of historical record. In pages of those Justice Department files is a heavily redacted 69-page document marked law enforcement sensitive. It details a covert 5-year investigation launched by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. Agents were tracking massive, suspicious money transfers flowing between New York City and the Virgin Islands, attempting to link the capital to organized narcotics and prostitution. The memo shows this operation formally opened on December 17, 2010. That means federal agents began their probe 2 full years after Epstein had supposedly closed his criminal exposure through a highly lenient plea deal. The DEA had Epstein in their sights, along with a network of associates, but the identities of 14 completely redacted individuals targeted in that probe remain classified. The findings of the investigation and the reasons for its sudden closure have never been disclosed. The federal prosecutor who originally negotiated that 2008 plea deal, the agreement that kept Epstein out of federal prison, was later elevated to a United States cabinet position as Secretary of Labor. He held that office until the week Epstein was finally rearrested in 2019. The mechanics of the island required an operations manager. Ghislaine Maxwell served as the recruiter, the schedule coordinator, and the social shield who provided the veneer of high society legitimacy that kept visiting politicians and executives comfortable. In December 2021, a federal jury convicted Maxwell of sex trafficking. She is currently serving a 20-year sentence in federal prison. Throughout the trial, the sentencing, and her years of incarceration, she has categorically refused to name a single person who visited Little St. James or participated in the abuse. Her persistent silence ensures that the identities of the network she helped build remain intact. In September 2025, Bloomberg News obtained 18,000 of Epstein's personal emails. The correspondence details a long-term project of systematic collection, gathering names, behaviors, and vulnerabilities. When federal agents raided his Manhattan townhouse, they hauled out 40 computers and 26 external hard drives, containing over 300 gigabytes of data. It was an archive of photographs, video recordings, and closely guarded financial information. One member of Congress who was granted access to review the unredacted cache of data offered only a single sentence to reporters. "What I saw was deeply disturbing. We are left with a man who possessed no verifiable clients and ran no legitimate business, yet accumulated $600 million in liquid assets. He built a machine designed to control the most powerful people on the planet, and then he died in a federal holding cell. Subscribe to Dark Dossier. The file is never closed."